Tonight on Q2, stranded with nowhere to go.
This will give us a great resource where we have something we can fall back on.
The Montana Highway Patrol partners with the Salvation Army seeking to assist stranded motorists. Plus, tense times at a Billings apartment complex.
He shook me up. I thought he was going to come after me.
An assault leads to a standoff at Prairie Towers, leaving dozens of elderly residents evacuated. And tensions rise in the courtroom.
The state wants to rip that away from him and take away his freedom. Objection.
A Billings man stands trial accused of drowning his 4-year-old stepson in a bathtub. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Monday night. I'm David J. Montana's winter weather can wreak havoc on a number of travelers, sometimes leaving motorists stranded. Now, the Montana Highway Patrol and the Salvation Army are partnering up with a solution. The new program allows troopers to hand out $150 vouchers for towing or lodging if they encounter an individual or family that needs help. Both organizations spoke today on the impact they hope this program will have. Troopers will be able to offer more to people who get stranded in an area from Billings to Miles City and Lewistown and Butte to Glendive.
In the remote areas of Montana where it's underserved, we hope to help out these stranded motorists, and the Salvation Army is funding the program.
James Antel is the Salvation Army's Intermountain Field Rep and helps run the Montana Highway Patrol Stranded Motorist Assistance Program.
This is a different program that reaches a different population that's pretty much underserved. If you're stranded and you have no money and your car broke down, this may work for you.
Montana Highway Patrol troopers will be able to offer vouchers up to $150 for gas, hotels, and towing when they see fit.
It can be nerve-wracking for somebody who's driving through Montana and gets stranded.
Captain Eric Gilbert knows troopers who have paid for gasoline for those stranded on the highway.
I've come across people that have, been involved in a crash, or they're broken down, or they've run out of gas, and they don't have the means or the ability financially to get themselves out of that situation.
The Salvation Army is looking for more businesses to help, and it has worked successfully with the Wyoming Highway Patrol on the assistance program.
Being a partner with the Salvation Army and having that resource is going to be greatly beneficial.
We appreciate the partnership we have with the Highway Patrol, and God bless those officers who are out there doing the hard work. We believe this program not only helps them, but it helps that stranded motorists too. So it's a win-win for us.
And first responders may be busy over the next day or so, as snow is already beginning to fall in some areas. This is the view on Red Lodge Mountain as those flakes are coming down pretty hard tonight. For how Billings and the lower elevations will be impacted, here's meteorologist Ed McIntosh. Ed?
And as you take a look at Doppler radar this evening, you see the snow right around the region. Rain showers that quickly change over to snow into the eastern plains. So accumulations will start this evening and overnight. Now, obviously, the ground's been warm enough for a while. It's going to be a lot harder for it to start to accumulate. It'll initially melt across the area, but that could cause some refreezing. Notice that northeastern Montana was starting to see some of the impacts over towards Miles City. Already feeling some of that earlier in the day, over 1/3 of an inch in Great Falls. That actually sets a new record for the day. So the areas that have already seen some of the showers continuing to push it down into the eastern plains. As far as accumulations, if the current pattern holds, and it looks like it will heading into tonight, several places could see anywhere from a trace up to 3 inches. We could see some accumulations first thing tomorrow morning. More into the mountains could be up to 3 to 7 inches with some areas of blowing snow in addition. Closer look at the forecast details coming up.
A scary situation this morning at a downtown apartment. An assault turned into a 5-hour standoff, leading to the evacuation of dozens of residents. Q2's Isabel Sparks was on scene all morning as residents described the tense moments.
A SWAT situation always brings a big law enforcement presence, but in an apartment building like this one, that response was magnified with so many people living nearby. From patrol cars to drones to armed officers, there was certainly a lot of activity here Monday morning. For Prairie Tower apartment resident Roger Davis, it was a morning he never expected.
He shook me up. I thought he was going to come after me.
Around 6:40 Monday morning, Davis walked out of the elevator to the first floor of the building to find a man assaulting 2 people and immediately called the police, something he says happens frequently where he lives.
I seen this tall guy started beating on this carpet guy, and cut him with a knife, and it's getting too crazy over there.
Upon arriving on scene, Billings police found 2 victims and the suspect, 64-year-old David Dwelly, a resident at the complex, armed with a knife inside of his apartment. That incident then led to an almost 5-hour police standoff.
I had to get evacuated because they evacuated the first 2 floors.
Residents Bradley Foose and Connie Peckham were outside all morning during the incident due to the standoff and witnessed the heavy police response.
I heard 2 flashbangs go off, and then right after that, I heard 2 gunshots, which thankfully turned out to be 2 rounds from the beanbag gun.
The Billings SWAT team was immediately activated with negotiators arriving on scene. After a couple of hours, SWAT officers distributed gas into the residence and Dwelly exited, but police say he remained uncooperative. At that time, Billings canine officers were deployed and he was taken into custody around 11:30. While the standoff is now over, residents expressed their gratitude that the situation didn't escalate further.
They did a professional job. Everybody did. The staff did, the police did. They did what they had to do and they took their time.
Dwelly did receive medical treatment and has been charged with aggravated assault, obstructing a peace officer, resisting arrest, and felony criminal mischief. In Billings, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.
The state wrapped up its case this afternoon in the deliberate homicide trial of a stepfather accused of beating and drowning his young son in extremely hot water in October of 2021. Tonight, Q2's Charlie Kleps takes us inside the courtroom as the defense now starts its case.
6 days in.
You indicated earlier today, though, that you found out he died while you were still in the yard. Do you remember that?
Witnesses continue to be questioned.
How common are cameras like that in the homes that you've searched?
As the trial surrounding defendant Christopher Harrisumchek continued all day Monday.
By that time, we knew that Jackson had been declared deceased.
Harrisumchek is facing charges of deliberate homicide after allegedly drowning his 4-year-old stepson, Jackson Gatlin, in a bathtub full of extremely hot water in October of 2021. He's also charged with assaulting the boy's older brother.
Now, the state just got done telling you that Chris possibly drowned Jax.
On Monday, the state rested its case, and the defendant delivered its opening statements.
What this case is truly about is a blended family, general denial, and a PUFMA card, partner family member assault card.
They claim that Harrisumchek did not drown the boy, arguing that other medical ailments led to his death.
Having a kid that is autistic can be extremely difficult. It's not like your average child.
The medical examiner's report indicated several possible factors for the little boy's death, noting brain swelling caused by possible drowning, hypothermia, and blunt force head trauma. Possibilities also emphasized by the defense's first witness, a pediatric specialist named Stephen Gurton.
He had bruising and marks, some of which are innocent, and he had bruising and marks, which to me indicate that at least at some point he had been slapped.
The trial is expected to wrap up Wednesday, with Harrisumchek facing up to life in prison if convicted of deliberate homicide. In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
President Donald Trump is ordering the pause of U.S. military aid for Ukraine. It's a move that the president hopes will motivate Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to engage in peace talks with Russia. The decision comes after the two leaders had an explosive meeting inside the Oval Office on Friday. Democrat Representative Brendan Doyle of Pennsylvania called the pause reckless, indefensible, and a direct threat to our national security. A White House official says the president is committed to ending the war and wants to make sure Zelensky feels the same way. They say the pause and review is to ensure that it is contributing to a solution. The more than 3-year war was sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Montana Department of Labor and Industry will hold a statewide event next week to help recently laid off federal employees. Those cuts are a product of the Trump administration seeking to downsize the federal government and save taxpayer money. On March 12th, the Department of Labor and Industry will offer in-person support at 18 job service offices, as well as online between 9 and 11 a.m. Individuals will be able to find help with unemployment insurance, job openings, as well as interview training and resume assistance. The state also has a skills matching dashboard to help people identify new employment opportunities. You can find more information on the locations and the event itself on the department's website. The topic of gender once again took center stage at the 69th Montana legislature today. This afternoon, Montana senators debated Senate Bill 299, which aims to revise laws related to enhancing transparency in education. The measure, proposed by Republican John Fuller of Kalispell, would require school districts to create a policy that would give parents access to all information about their child. That includes any comments involving their gender identity or requests to be treated as the opposite sex. Parents would need to provide written consent to the school before a child is able to go by a pronoun that does not align with the child's sex. Fuller says it's the parent's fundamental right to know.
Parents deserve transparency about what is taught to their children and the ability to shield their child. Parents also have the right to be informed about what's going on and involved with any issue affecting their child's academic performance and their mental or physical health.
Meanwhile, opponents say the bill could be a risk to some children's safety.
Schools and learning institutions should be a safe environment for all young people. For many young people, it's a refuge when they don't always feel safe at home.
Schools would also need to notify parents and get their consent 5 days before giving instruction or presentations that would study, explore, or inform students about gender roles, gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation. The bill passed today's reading with a 31-19 vote in the Senate.